Good morning, Rabboisai. How's everybody doing? We had better days. Better days. I'll explain in a second. Lilu Nishmas Imi Mirosi Rusbas Mordechai, and today's shir is sponsored. Full Daf Yomi shir on September 22nd is being sponsored by Mordechai Zapaznik. Lezeicha Nishmas. It's written because I copy and paste whatever they give me, so it's written a little funny. Don't read the small print there. Lezeicha Nishmas, my great grandfather Harav Elchanan Taitz, Elchanan Zev ben Harav ben Yoman Avram Yankiv. Zeichet Tzadik Levracha. May his neshama have an aliyah, and he should be made Yosher for his entire family in Klal Yisrael. Could anybody read it like that? Impossible. It says it back and forth, all different type of. Okay. There's a paper towel there. I'm not sure why. Hold on. Okay. All right. We got this. This took a couple months to arrive. It says like this on the box. It's not about the daf. It's about the Yomi. This came in the mail. Yeshua worked really, really hard to get this here. This is from David Dimbert, from Carioca. Carioca, is that how you pronounce it? Shkoyach. So this is coffee for you guys here in the Beis Medrash. Fresh beans that he makes in his factory. Yeshua, I think that maybe there's something else in here besides beans. You want to open it up? Let's check it out. All right, so Rabbi said, this is the story. It looks like, I'm saying this with a heavy heart, it looks like tonight, late tonight, probably early tomorrow morning, I am traveling to the States. This is Shalom Bayis, 100% Shalom Bayis. I really feel it's hard for me. I've been here for a long time, been here 11 months. I'm in a groove. We're all in a groove, and my wife feels she needs to go.
It's a very good thing.
It's a good thing. I know there's.
You do it even when it's hard for you?
100%, right. It doesn't, the daf is not always easy to do. Even sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's more so on the plane and the airports and all that. I agree. But I have nerves about it. Like what's going to be. I don't know where I'm going to be for Yontif. I'm going to try to make it to New York and do some stops over there, maybe in the Sukkah, maybe on Sukkahs. I don't know yet. I'm mailing this package on the 16th of Tammuz in hopes that when this package arrives, it finds you all well, and America is open for shir. So yeah, it's open for shir today. I'm continuing to enjoy the shir every day, mostly on YouTube. I've never learned this much Torah in such a short time. Fantastic. I'm very much looking forward to Mr. Shem to returning to America to enjoy his shir, a coffee and a chabura, and then of course to the cruise. In the meanwhile, Ivdus Hashem besimcha, Boyle Lefana Benana, David Dimbert, the V'chaim ben Aryeh Leibish. Wow, beautiful. And here it is, fresh coffee. David, I'm going to be in Chicago tomorrow, so maybe we'll do a share in Chicago. Come join us there. He's from, where is he from again? Highland Park, Illinois.
Not going to do share every day wherever you want.
Yeah. So I'm saying tomorrow I'm going to be in Chicago. I'm going to be in Chicago hopefully till Yontif sometime. Then during Yontif, the plan is, I don't know, we don't have a clear plan, to go to New York. Once I'm in New York, Far Rockaway, that's where I'm going to be stationed. Far Rockaway, so we'll see the Far Rockaway boys, which, by the way, last night they had a get-together. There's like 20 people there with Noam. It's very nice, very nice. Okay. So I'm asking Mechila to begin with, if, the picture doesn't come in clear and I don't have the charts. I'm on the road, I actually bought printers yesterday. I had to send printers to my house in Chicago, so I have something on the road over there. Bekitzer, okay. This is from Mordechai Sapaznik. We got this email a while ago, but I saved this for today because he's sponsoring today. Here's a picture of me watching the daf shir. It's a geschmack shir. Thank you, Mordechai Zapaznik. So you have a close-up. Here we go. This is what he looks like. Rabbi, if you want to know what Mordechai Zapaznik, I never knew what he looked like, so Baruch Hashem, it's a good thing. Send me in pictures. I think, I don't know, I read this guy's email or his brother, Hi Rebel, or his cousin, I don't know. I would like to thank you. No, it's somebody else. This is Ari Mack. I'd like to thank you for all the charts you provided, a little behind schedule. I'll be back on schedule by Pesachim. So I'm not sure. Do we have to, what? We had Yosef Mack? Oh, we had Yosef. I knew that. From Pesach. Somebody's from Pesach, somebody not. Because it says here, I watch the daf every day, and I get home from school, my father watches the daf, and my brother watches you live with my in-laws, my brother-in-law's father, Ezra Abrams from Australia, and also his uncle, Hillel Abrams. So you have the whole family watching. Thanks, Eli, for getting people to the daf. He used to do the daf HaShavua, now he does this. Have a great yontiv, Aryeh Mek, keep it going. Now, he's learning 2 daf a day, it says here. The bottom line is, I hope he's doing the daf with everybody else and just making up the rest on the side. So Rabbi Isai, today is daf Mem Daled. And we're holding by Nechemia Berei the Rav Chaniloi. I once said over a Maisa from the Ger Rebbe. The Ger Rebbe had a sefer in the Beis Medrash where he needed to bring from the Beis Medrash to his house. So he told his Gabbai, tell the Hasidim that he is going to be going from the Beis Medrash to the house. So all the Hasidim gathered, and because they gathered, he tucked the sefer in his pocket, and he walked home carrying a sefer. Are you allowed to do that? Obviously, if the Ger Rebbe did it, he knew what he was doing. What are the conditions? When can you do that? When can you use people as your mechitza? That's what he did. He got all the Hasidim to line up. With Shabbos, on Shabbos. I don't know where he was. Okay, I don't know where he was exactly. You decided he was in Yerushalayim. Maybe he was somewhere else. Maybe he was in Poland. I don't know. They said the Ger Rebbe. I don't know. So let's see. Says the Gemara, Nechemia Berei the Rav Chaniloi, Mashachtei Shmaitza. We just learned the other day that the difference of Talmid Chacham, you could assume that the reason why he's added the Tchum is because he was learning. He's busy learning. Now the Gemara says, a Maisa Shahaya. You have Nechemia Berei the Rav Chaniloi. He was schlepped out of the Tchum because he was learning. Mashachtei Shmaitza, his learning schlepped him out. Unafak chutz l'tchum. What is that called? Shoygig. He went out of the tchum, he was spacing out. I shouldn't say spacing, he was learning out. He's so involved in learning. It's unbelievable to think about a person so deep in his thought, he has no idea where he's going. He went out of the tchum. Omalei Rav Chizda Rav Nachman. So Rav Chizda tells Rav Nachman, the famous Rav Nachman, tells Rav Nachman, Nechemia Talmidcha Shori B'tzar. What should you do? Do you have an eitzah for him? He's sitting in the sun. He's burning up. He can't get home. There's no water. There's nothing going on. He's in the middle of a desert somewhere. Omar Loi, Asei Loi Mechitza Shel B'nei Adam V'Yikonis. I have an eitzah. It's called take a bunch of people, line them up, V'Yikonis. Now the Gemara darshans from this word V'Yikonis. That doesn't mean that they were lined up all the way, because if they were lined up all the way, it wouldn't say v'yikonas. Just line them up and everything's good. What's v'yikonas? And he should go in. The Gemara understands later on that there's almost enough people. The rest, he's just going to have to walk it in. Says the Gemara, Yosef, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Achoyer de Rava. So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, like we find in Gemaras many times, they used to sit in rows. You have the Rebbe in the front. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak is sitting behind Rava. The Yosef Rava kamei the Rav Nachman. So the story is happening. Rav Chizda is telling Rav Nachman, do something. Rav Nachman says, okay, let's line these people up. And then in front of Rav, you have the Rebbe in the front, and you have Rava sitting in the front row. And behind Rava, in the second row, let's say, you have Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak leans over and whispers to Rava, what's going? What's the back and forth here? What's the issue? Rav Chizda didn't know what the Ger Rebbe knew. He didn't know that you could line people up. And we're going to see that it's not so pashut. Maybe I should say this, it's not something we do. If you need to bring something from here to here, be very careful how you do it. Because nobody's allowed to know that you're doing it. In the case of the Ger Rebbe, we're going to see, they didn't know. They thought they're coming to be Malava the Rebbe. Meanwhile, he hid a book in here. It's not he's holding a sefer right up. Over here also, these people lined up, we're going to see. If you have enough people, maybe Rav Chizda, why didn't Rav Chizda come up with this idea by himself? So why didn't Rav Chisda come up with this himself? Because he wasn't sure if the halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel. What is the halacha like Rabbi Gamliel? So we had yesterday, if you have a person finds himself, people lifted him up, put him in here against his will, but there are walls all around, Rabbi Gamliel says he could go in the entire area. Case number 2 or 3, because the other one is the Sahar, the same thing as this. If he finds himself on a ship, Rabbi Kiva says only the box, Rabbi Gamliel says the whole thing. So Rav Chisda was mesupag, is the halacha like Rabbi Gamliel. And Mamela is not stuck with 4 amas, he gets more, as wide as those mechitzas are. So if people line him up all the way to the city, he gets to go the entire city, just like a ship. The length of the ship, the length of the people. Or perhaps, we're not discussing a situation where we have enough people. That would be crazy. You'd have to get, let's say, 2,000 people. The guy went who knows where. So let's say he didn't have all those people. What did happen? So, second to last Mishnah in this parak, like in the Nun area, Nun Aleph Amud Beis. No, it's further. Nun Beis Amud Beis. So Mishnah says, "Mishnah yotze chutz l'tchum afilu am achas lo yikonos." Rabbi Eliezer oimer shtayim yikonos. Eliezer says, "Shittas Rabbi Eliezer, he has 2 amas freebies all the way at the end." So we're going to assume maybe that's what Rav Chisda's problem was. Interesting shaila. The last 4 feet were missing. Can Nehemiah jump into the city? Once he's in the city, he's free to go. So that was the shaila. Says the Gemara, you have to say this kind of, it's almost like a daichak to say that, wow, he was mesupik in the last 2 feet, so get 2 more people. Fine, but it doesn't make sense that he's mesupik if the halach is like Rabbi Gamliel. Why? It must be that this was the case, that the people didn't go all the way to the city. Because if these people actually made it all the way to the city, so you had 2 perfect walls going all the way to the city. What's the shayla? Ha'amarav, halacha kirim Gamliel, bedir v'sar usvina. Here, halacha is like Rav in these 2 cases. No, this one. Okay, everything is reversed on the screen. Okay, the halacha is like Rav, and Rav Chisda is a Talmud of Rav. Obviously, he holds like his Rebbe. You get to go within your territory, within your mechitzas. So, what's the difference? Human mechitzas, walls of a ship, of a barn, these are all new to you. You didn't start off Shabbos there. You ended up there bishoygig, just like a guy picks you up, puts you in a barn. Bishoygig, you get to go everywhere in the barn. Rabbi Gamliel says you're not limited to your Dalet Amas, so it's over here. So why did Rav Chisda have to ask Rav Nachman what to do? Take the people, because he didn't have enough people. They were just short of the city by 2 amas. We're talking about not enough people, and the question was, do we go with Rebbe Eliezer? And I'll prove it to you from the Lashon of the Mishnah, the Ka'amalei Yikones. What does it mean, go in? My Yikones, extra word. Make walls all the way to the city, and the fire to give a geschäft, that's it, enough. You went all the way to the city, why do you need more? My Yikones la beloy mechitza means I'm pushing him. The last 2 amos, the last 4 feet, I give him a Yikonis. Don't worry. You can keep on going. You can go into the city. It's okay, because I hold like Rebbe Eliezer that says you get 2 amos. Eisvei. So now, very geshmak sugya, can we make mechitzos with human beings? With live things called humans? Eisvei, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak l'Rava. So it's the same Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak that was sitting behind Rava. I don't know if it was at the same time. But he asked Rava another question. Can you imagine the shir? What's going on? People are asking these kashas back and forth. You have to hold cup. It's also interesting. It says, is the halacha like Rebbe Eliezer? It doesn't say who. Who's Rebbe Eliezer? You need to know by yourself, when you're learning Eruvin Daf Mem Daled, that an Eruvin Daf Nun Beis, there's a shita called Rebbe Eliezer. It's obvious. Well, we have Rashi, Baruch Hashem, who told us, but without Rashi, you're reading it, Shaila and Rebbe Eliezer. It doesn't explain a word who Rebbe Eliezer is and what he says, just a Shaila. And by the way, it's a good ride because it says Yikonis, and you're sitting there, what's going on here? Baruch Hashem. Rashi tells us that Rebbe Eliezer from Daf Nun Beis. Okay. Eis Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak l'Rava. I'm just saying, it was code, right? Because Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak tells Rav in 10 seconds, he says, Rav Chizda had a problem with Rav Gamliel or he had a problem with Rabbi Eliezer? He says, no. He says, obviously, okay, fine. Next question he asked him. Noval Dafna, you're talking about sukkahs, coming up. Ma'amish any day, Rabbi Sai. If the wall of a sukkah, now this happens in America. I've seen this I saw a guy had a gorgeous sukkah, and he spent, I don't remember what it was, thousands of dollars on a anti-rain system, a shlak. But not stam. This, you can't call it a shlak. A shlak is a shlak. It's like, this thing had, pneumatic things and the whole. So he did very expensive stuff over his sukkah. What happened was it poured, it was raining, so he closed it. But the water didn't go off completely. And it started creating a puddle, and the puddle grew and grew and grew, and his entire sukkah just destroyed. It just brought in all four walls. That happens in America. Over here, you don't have it so much. That the whole sukkah, where was it that the sukkahs were blew away? It was here in Eretz Yisrael? Oh, yeah, it was last year. Yeah, you're right. Here in Eretz Yisrael, you have it also. You're right. Okay. Nafal Dafna. The sukkah, one of the walls falls down. Now, we're going to speak it out as we learn as much as we can. Nafal Dafna. What does Dafna mean? L'chayr means the wall that creates the hechsher of the sukkah. Without this wall, you're not going to have a sukkah. That's Dafna. It doesn't mean you have, because the sukkah has to have 3 walls. Let's call it 3 walls. So let's say you have a 4th extra wall. You don't need the 4th one. That one fell. That wouldn't be called Dafna. Dafna means the wall of the sukkah that creates a sukkah. Without it, you won't have a sukkah. L'yamid ba'adam beheim of a kalim. Don't put up a human being there, or an animal, or any vessel. Now you have your bed in the sukkah, because you sleep in the sukkah. Like every good yid, right? You sleep in the sukkah. So you take the bed, and it's there already. So you lift it up. Now that it would seem like it's less of a problem because you're just cleaning up the floor. You're moving something. When guests come into the sukkah, you have to start moving the beds around, you start folding them. So instead of you just lifted it up and you put you left the sheet on it, now it created a wall. Don't do that. Because you're not allowed to make an oil, even a temporary oil, on Yantif. If you can't do it on Yantif, certainly you can't do it on Shabbos. Now, what's an oil? An oil is usually a roof. And we're talking about a wall. So Rashi says over here, a beautiful thing, that by creating a wall, you have a puzzle sukkah. Right now you don't have a sukkah. Your sukkah is gone. So by creating this wall, you created a sukkah which creates the ceiling. In other words, your schach is 0 right now because schach without walls is nothing. So by you creating the wall around the schach, below the schach, now your schach just became schach. You created the oil. Tosis argues. So the problem is, and so human beings are not good for mechitza. So we have a brayso here that says human beings aren't good. So if a human being is not good for a sukkah, for mechitza sukkah, so he's not good for mechitza on Shabbos. So why are you making these walls out of human beings? Human beings are not walls. Very good. You have a very nice brayso that says no human beings for a wall. I have a brayso that says you could have a human being in a wall. Okay, so let's split this brayso up into 2 pieces. We have the first line that says, you take your friend, for such friends, you take the friend. What do you do with your friend? Listen, do me a favor, stand there for a second. When he's not paying attention, you tie him up real good, and that's it. He becomes your wall for the sukkah. I saw this chaveroi doifen kedei. Why? So he yoichal v'yishta v'yishan. How long does he sleep? It's not 2 minutes. He's going to take a 7-hour sleep. He'll stand there like a klutz for 7 hours. So, first of all, it's moridik. Yoichal v'yishta v'yishan. Right? That's in the Torah. You have to eat, drink, and sleep in the sukkah. Just want to mention this. When I was a kid living in Far Rockaway, but also in Brooklyn. This happened in Brooklyn, Flatbush. It was freezing cold one Sukkot. And I'll never forget, it's a lesson for chinuch. My father bought me like these long johns, but 5 pairs. 5 pairs and what do they call those sleepers? Those onesie. By the way, I have to say this. I know it's very embarrassing. In Tifrach, when I was 10 years old, so I opened up my suitcase, and in there is my onesie. My onesie. I told you this. It was nice. It had flowers, the whole tzach. I didn't chap. Why is everybody making fun of me? I had like a onesie, like zipped up in Yeshiva Ktan in high school. I'm walking around the dormitory in a onesie. My mother thought it was something to do. Aleh Shalom. Shalom should have an aliyah. She sent me with a onesie. And I remember my grandma said, your mother sent you it? Like my grandmother, she's from Germany. Like, it's not, you don't go to high school then in a onesie. And I have large feet, large shoes, and my toes never fit in that onesie. They were always bent. And no, that's what we had. That's what my mother could afford. She gave me a onesie. Like, what? Anyway, but I had a Gishmaka onesie, 5 pairs of this, and an unbelievable sleeping bag that was rated for, 200 degrees below whatever it was. And we slept in the sukkah. It was mamish toasty. It was so hot. We had to open up the sleeping bag. But it was a musa ask, like, what you do for, now I'm not saying you mechuyev, I'm not passing in halachas, it's, it's bitzar and all that. But as a gronik with tefillin, or somebody who wears tefillin all day, we're going to sleep in the sukkah this year. It doesn't matter how cold it is. And it was geshmak. I remember feeling, this is what you do for mitzvah. You go to the store, you buy the proper sleeping bag and the proper this. Anyway, just saying. It left a big rajam. Says the Gemara, so the first part of the Mishnah seems that you need this person to create a sukkah. Without this human being, you don't have a sukkah. Zero. In order to eat, to drink, to sleep. Why is he putting the person there? To make the third wall. So that's part 1 of the Brisa in green, to make the sukkah. Then it says, I just cut out, just to make it short here. You take up the folding bed, you put it up against the wall. You take the sheet. Kedei, what's the second part of the Brisa? Imagine this, close your eyes for a second. There's a dead human being in the sukkah with you, shlufen nicely. He's going to be there, he's going to be sleeping for life next to you. But you don't want the sun. You need to eat over here, your suda and your sukkah, so you put a nice thing so the sun doesn't hit him. Meanwhile, I don't know what like in those days, they had a different, the guy died. No, so there's no Chaver Kaddish right now. Leave him over there. But you don't want the sun to hit him. So this is different. You're putting up a bed to protect him from the sun. That doesn't mean, the second part of the Brisa is not talking about a hechsher sukkah. It's talking about to take care of business. Without that bed, maybe you would have a good sukkah. As the Gemara, says the Gemara Kashin Adadi, at the end of the day, we have one brayse that says, do not use human beings for mechitza. The other one says, I want to eat and sleep and drink. I use my friend, I tie him up nicely. What do? Like Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer says it's not good. You can't use a human being. Harabonanim, they say that you could. This is none. Pekaka chaloin. Isn't this geschmack that we just learned this in Masechet Shabbos? It all comes together. All these sugis, they're starting to come together. Shas. Pekaka chaloin. Yeah, that one. Okay. You push number 1 instead of number 2, right? Whatever it is. Pekaka chaloin. You remember this picture? You have the shutter of the window hanging on a chain. Beautiful picture from Yoni. And it fits right in here. Is that considered creating a mechitza on Shabbos or not? So, Rabbi Eliezer, if it's literally dangling off the ground, so it's part of the wall, you're allowed to use it. If not, you cannot use it as a shutter. Why? Because now you're creating an oil. It's not a problem. It's a temporary shutter. It's a temporary closing of the wall. It's fine. So Mela, Rebbe Lezer that says that you're not allowed to use this, it's a problem. You can't do a temporary oil on Shabbos and Yontif. So Mela, you can't do it You can't use a temporary human being. You can't create a mechitza. And Rabbanan, who say you could, so you can use human beings. Ask the Gemara about Itmar Allah, Amar Rabbi Bechana Rabbi Yochanan. Hakol moedim she'ein oisen oil arei b'tchila b'yantif. There is no argument. Even Chachamim will agree that in a sukkah, I'm creating something new. This, they say, this is not new. I use this on Sunday, I use it on Monday, so I'll use it on Shabbos. It's hanging. It's a regular shutter, like any window opens, closes. So over here, there's a little difference on the side. I close it. It's a tris, like a regular tris, an old-fashioned tris, a wooden tris, a shutter. But the sukkah, it fell down. I'm creating a brand new wall. Why would Chachamim say that that's okay? They'll never say that's okay. The whole machlokes is to add to an existing wall already. Over here, there's existing. That's the word that it's existing already. So we're going to go from the chumrah. If you're machmer, you say, I can't add on Yantiv. It's certainly not on Shabbos. Chacham who are mekel, they say, you could do this on Shabbos. Certainly on Yantiv. That's to add. You already have a wall here. The wall's everywhere. So you're adding another little piece. But over here, you're creating a whole new third wall, or whatever it is. Says the Gemara, to understand the brises. One says that you can use human beings. One says you can't. Another machlok is called Ramei Rabbi Yehuda, the Tanya Asala Behema Doivan LaSukkah. Beautiful. A guy uses his horse. I don't know what's better, a horse as a wall or a dead person laying in your sukkah. They're both not very good, not very comfortable. You use your horse as a wall for a sukkah. Brand new wall. Rabbi Meir Poisel, no good. Why? Because a horse could pick himself up and run away. You're not gonna have, that's not a good sukkah. Rabbi Yehuda Machshir, Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Meir Poisel, Rabbi Yehuda Machshir. And Rabbi Yehuda says it's okay. Rabbi Meir, they call Posel Hasam, Alma Lav Mechitzi. So let's take it step by step. Rabbi Meir that says you cannot use a horse for sukkah, meaning it is Dika Pasal Asam. So Alma Lav Mechitzihi. So I'm not going to fix the sukkah with that, even though you're making an oil. Hacha Shari Lav Midika Avid. Why? It's going to remain a bad sukkah. So let him use it over here. If over there it's not good, so let him use it over here because it didn't accomplish anything. Rabbi Yehuda called Machshir Asam Al Mechitzihi. If Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Meir says it's not a good mechitza. Not a good mechitza. You can't use a horse. It's going to run away. Meaning, a horse equals 0, not a mechitza. So 0, put a 0 over here. What's the big deal? I'm allowed to put a 0 in my chutz. But Rabbi Yehuda says that I'm yoytze mitzvah sukkah with a horse. A horse is considered halachically like a wooden panel. So then I can't do a wooden panel on Shabbos. I can't build a oilara on Shabbos. I'm mechitzi, so it is a good mechitza. So memela hacha asar. If it's a good mechitza, I can't build it on Shabbos. I can't take a horse or a human being and put him here. We're talking about humans now. So if I cannot use a horse, if I could use a horse, it's halachically good to use, and it creates a third wall for mechitza. So therefore, it would be a problem, according to Rabbi Yehuda, to use a human being right here and let the guy go back into the city, or to use a human being for what do you call it? So on a Tuesday, if I want to use a horse, according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's a good mechitza. But that same Rabbi Yehuda would say on Shabbos, it's not a good thing to do because I'm creating a wall on Shabbos. So what's the comparison to our case? The whole problem with a horse is going to run away. A human being, you tell him nicely, listen, I need you to stand. Do me a favor. I need to sleep now. I need to eat now. Please don't go anywhere. So I have no concern that he's going to run away. V'su, Rebbe Meir libe deman. Eli libe Rebbe Eliezer. Lahoisef. Nami asar. Rebbe Eliezer in this case holds shutters are asar. In other words, even to add a little bit to an existing wall is asar. So how can Rebbe doesn't hold like Rebbe Eliezer? Rabbanan only said this case of a shutter to add, but they never said to start over from scratch, to make a brand new wall. Rabbanan Rabbanan who hold that you're allowed to add a little bit, you're allowed to use a shutter. They're the ones that say both of these things here. V'kelim ha-kelim lo kashya. And don't ask me a kasha from Kalim, why it says in one place you're allowed to use it for a sukkah and in another place not. Ha b'doifen shlishis, ha b'doifen revius. So the brisa that says you can create oil on Shabbos with vessels because that is the determining wall. Without that wall, you don't have a sukkah. With that wall, you have a sukkah. Now you just created a wall on Shabbos. You're not allowed to make an oil aray on Shabbos. Ha b'doifen revius. But let's say you want more privacy. You have a sukkah already. You have 3 walls. The sukkah is kosher. All you want to do is add a 4th wall for privacy, for wind, whatever the reason is, but that's not creating a sukkah. Maybe that's allowed. Like in Ami Diktani, Nafal Dafna, like we pointed out before, the word Nafal Dafna means it's machshir wall, the wall that makes the sukkah. What makes the sukkah? The 3rd wall. Shmamina. Whereas in the second brayse it says, it's talking about, we're concerned about the dead person, not so much the doifen that's machshir the sukkah. Shema Amina. So we're turning to Daf Amud Beis, sponsored by Mark Steinberg, Schus for Shidduch for his son, Yitzchak Pesach Yehuda B'Meir Yosef, and by anonymous, Hatzlach in Yiddishkeit for him, and a schus for his family to be Torah Jews. But what do we do about people? So, on the one hand it says you can use a person for a sukkah, on the other hand it says you can't. Now, when it comes to people, it says in the brayse it says, you're using the human being for a sukkah, to make the sukkah. You can't say anymore, like we said a second ago, the kalim. Look, the Yifr Zalel Sadin, that's in the same braysa. Why are you putting the Sadin? Mace, to help the mace. But that's not to make a sukkah, it's to help a dead person not smell. But the first part of the braysa is talking about human beings. Human beings, to create a sukkah. No. So it says you're allowed to use a human being to create a sukkah. The first brayse says you cannot use a human being to create a sukkah. Which one is it? It says the Gemara, very interesting. Kan l'das, kan shelo midas. So now we have this idea of das and loy l'das. When a human being knows what he's doing, says Rashi, dein derech binyan bekach. You don't build with human beings. You don't build with human beings. Huh? I hear. Good. Because he himself is aware that they're building with him. You don't. So obviously they're not building with him. But if he doesn't know, so right now, at this point, he is the mechitza, without him knowing. You're saying, but at the end of the day, fakir. No, you tell him, don't walk away. You say, I'm paying you to stay here. Don't walk away. I need you here. I hear. It's all good shilas, all good kashas. They're asking, doesn't have to be the opposite. They're asking if he's unaware, then he'll walk away. And we said that it's a problem if you walk away. You're like an animal that walks away. That's not a mechitza. Wow, let's pretend this has nothing to do with the sugya, because I was in this ayah and a crazy story that happened. We lived across the street from Yisrael Greenwald in Farakwe. I lived on Say Street when I was a kid. Say Street is the same block as the White Shul and the Aguda. You familiar? Say Street. And there's a person there that disappeared one day. Pasha disappeared. And for years, they didn't know what happened to him. They thought maybe he left his family, and all different rumors. They had no idea. And we were friendly. We used to go into the house. They had a monkey. It was very geshmak. So, and then 19 years later, they found a really bad cop, a New York cop, that would kill people for money. And somebody had him killed. And they took him, and they buried him on Nostrand Avenue in a garage somewhere. Pasha buried him in part of the garage. It's an unbelievable, crazy, crazy story. Can you imagine the tsar of that family for 19 years?
He was a wall sukkah?
I don't know. You don't. That's not the derech. You can't do that. But Rishayim, there's terrible people over there. The mafia, the Kol Minih Zachem. Kan l'das, kan shlo l'das. No, just it triggered that it's a Meshuggah story. V'hod the Rebbe Nechemia b'rei the Rebbe Chaniloi l'das hava. But at the end of the day, let's think about it. You have these people coming to the desert. Why are they coming to the desert? And they're all part of the desert. They're all part of that tchum. They're allowed to walk there. You're telling people, Rav Nachman said, come out there. Come, go. Why are they going? Obviously they know what's going on, no? Says Gemara Shalom Bayis. You must say that they said, Rav Chizda tells them, whoever it was, Rav Nachman Paskin, you have to go to the desert. Why? Don't ask kashas. Just line up like nice people, line it up, don't say a word, and we'll tell you afterwards.
Like the Gorah.
Exactly. So it has to be, that's what I'm saying. It had to be, and that's what we stick with. That it has to be Shalom Das. If people know that they're acting as a mechitza, it doesn't work. Says the Gemara, Rav Chizda Miyah L'das Hava. But Rav Chizda organizing the whole row over here, he's L'das. He knows what's going on. He's the one that asked the question. He's the one that got the answer from Rav Nachman. He knows. Says Gemara, Rav Nachman Shalom Minyan Hava. Obviously, we didn't count him. He wasn't part of the 10 or for the 1,000 people. He was just telling everybody to stand, but he wasn't part of it. Eli Deichman, I'm coming to visit you, Rabbi. He was there. I saw him on the video. Of course he showed up in why are you saying he didn't show up when I saw him in Furish there? He was on the video. Noam Fig sent me the video. Eli Deichman was in Farakwe, right, in the Queens. He was there. Of course he was there.
Farakwe is in Queens.
Yeah, it's Queens. The Gemara is always busy with these people that make chasanas that we had just recently with the Hadassim and the this. Maybe it's something similar. Anyway, B'nai Gnona, these people make a wedding. So they heard about this heter. You could use people. They needed to get water to the wedding, a cater. Nagdeniu Shmuel. Shmuel gave them a shtickle malchus, gave them a little beating. You don't do something like that on Shabbos. Im Amru Shalom Das. They said in a case, we were very careful, nobody found out what happened. Why? Yomi Eruvin, so you can't do it knowingly. Says the Gemara, Hanu Zike, the Havashadian Beristika, the Mechoiza. There were these leather flasks, I don't know, I forgot to look it up, but it sounds very familiar. I feel like we had this in a different Masechta, maybe in Avodah Zarah somewhere, these flasks, but it could be I'm completely off. I know they were talking about flasks, but I don't know if it was Rava's. Anyway, Rava left his flasks smack in the middle of the square of Mechaiza, which is what? Rishus HaRabim. But also Rava, and so Rava was walking Mipirke from his shear, Eilinu Nahale. So he's surrounded by all his Talmidim. It's a moving Mechitza. It's like a ship, people surround. So they grab the flasks and they start carrying on Shabbos in Rishus HaRabim, going towards Rava's house. So that was fine. Rava didn't say anything. Following Shabbos, great trick, let's do it again. Now he says, you're not allowed to do it. Why? You want Malchus from Shmuel? That's considered knowing. Everybody asked the question, what's going on? Why are they carrying on Shabbos? How can you carry? Oh, because they told him afterwards, there's a mechitza of Bnei Adam. That's it. Trick's over. Levi, Eilu Leitivna. When Levi came back from the Beis Medrash, they would bring him some straw. Zeiri as pasta, also a type of food for the animal, different stage. Rav Shimi bar Chia Mayo. He used to take water through a mechitza of people, and the Ger Rebbe took a sefer, unknowing to his chassidim didn't know about it. Says the Mishnah, Mishi Yotza B'Rshus. This is for you, Levi. Mishi Yotza also for you. You're also not Zola. Yes. Shabbos calls. Dr. Factor a lot. Levi Freeman, a lot. Who else? That's it. Dr. Citron soon. He had permission to be Mechalel Shabbos and leave the Tchum. Why? Because he's going to be Mekadesh the Chodesh. He's going on a Hatzalah call to deliver a baby. Something that he has Rishus. And halfway through he gets the call. Today it's Mamish on the radio. What do you do, Levi, when that happens? Halfway there, taken care of. Baby was born. Huh? Turn around. Tranasa Maisa, whatever happened, somebody else beat you to it to be Mekadesh the Levana. Give the testimony to Bezdin. Yesh loy alpayim amal l'chol ruach. So typically, you went out of your tchum knowingly. You get stuck there. Right there, you have 4 amas. Zehu zeh. But because you're being a tzaddik, you did it birshos, you get 2,000 amas. And if you're within your own tchum, it's as if you never left. What's a big chiddush? Gemara. All the Hatzalah people. And they go all the way back to where they started out. They can go back to their place. Says the Gemara, what does it mean? Omar Rabba, one pshat is Hachikomar. If he didn't leave his tchum, he could start all over again. Pshita. Anybody could start all over again. No, Mao the same Hoyel Valkar. He was going on a call. In his mind, he was done with his tchum. He's leaving, he's out of here. And he's actually going to bust the tchum. He just didn't, he wasn't able to bust the tchum, but he wanted to. So I think maybe since he thought in his mind he's going to leave the tchum, so it's over. Come on, Shmuel. Okay. Rav Shimon bar Chiya Amar, another pshat. Picture from the Masifta, from Oizvadar, I should say. I just changed the color a little bit to match my other one. You have 2 tchumim that are within each other. You see, the blue goes a little bit past the red, and the red goes into the blue. In other words, they're within each other slightly. If the red dotted line was over here, so that means he left the blue, he busted his tchum, and then started a new tchum. But that's not what happened. What happened was the hospital is right over here. So before he was able to bust his blue line, started his 2,000 amma from the hospital extends into his area. In other words, they overlap each other. Bottom line is, the tchumim overlap each other. So that's the chiddush over here. So what's the machlokes? Why do they say different pshatim in the Mishnah? Do I consider the fact that they overlap each other? The overlapping, is that important? Does that help us? Do we think, does it mean, since I overlap, I could go back to the original? Or no, look, where's this guy right now? This guy is 3,000 amas away from his house. He's far busted. But it happens to be that his 2,000 amas are within the original 2,000 amas. So maybe he could go back. Look, if he went back to his tchum now, to the red line, it's within the blue line. So maybe he could start walking back home, maybe. No. Rabbi holds he can't do that. You know why? Because he busted his tchum. He went past the blue line. Once you go one step past the blue, you can't go back home. Let's say there's no hospital here. Yeah, a normal human being on Shabbos walks right past the blue line. What's his halacha? Stop. You cannot go anywhere. He doesn't have 2,000 amas past the blue line to go back and stay 1 amma away from his house. He has to stay where he is. He busts his tchum. But this guy has a hospital over here. Somebody's giving birth. Or Yoledes, Rashi says. Or here's the Bezdin to be... but the Bezdin is within 2,000 amas of the blue line. It takes him into the blue line. Once I'm in the blue line, maybe I can walk back home. Because anything within the blue line, I'm allowed to walk home. Or no. Because at the end of the day, right now, he's 3,000 amas away from his house. So, okay, got to tell you this, Maisa. Here it is. Beautiful story. A very, very interesting thing. There's a cave. You see the nice ladders? He goes into the cave. He's here on Shabbos. The cave is 4,000 amas. It doesn't matter how big the cave is. Let's talk about 4,000 amas. The Gemara says 4,000. Why? Your house is considered 1 tchum. Your house could be 10,000 amas. You're allowed to walk the entire house. The cave is his house. It's a walled cave. Check this out. If he comes up the ladder on the blue dotted line, and he makes a right turn, a sharp turn this way, he has the red arrow. He could go 2,000 amas. You asking me he could go 2,000 amas? Yeah, maybe zoom in a little bit. If he takes this ladder on the other side of the cave and comes out of the cave and makes a left turn, by me it's left. I don't know what you're seeing exactly on the screen. He could go the blue line, 2,000 amas. But the top of the cave is, call it 3,000 amas, 3,900 amas. He's allowed to walk, halachically, he's allowed to walk from the top of the cave, 3,999 amas. Why? Because had he come out of the cave from the left, he would have 2,000 amas. Had he come out of the cave from the right, he would have 2,000 amas. And they overlap each other. You see the two arrows? Right over here, they overlap each other. That's called havla. The Gemara says that this is called a beautiful case. Now, if this top would be 4,000 amas, or 4,001 amas, let's call it, he wouldn't be able to walk on top because he doesn't have avla. He doesn't have 2,000 plus 2,000. He has 4,001. What does he do? Goes into the cave. Now, this is his house. He's allowed to walk as far as he wants in the cave. Come up and continue walking. But on top of the cave, he won't be able to go. Amazing, amazing case. He could go on top of the cave if you have avla. You see? That's why I painted this red and blue. Now the blue over here match, and the red over here match this blue and this red that overlap each other. What? He can't? He could walk 2,000 on top of the cave. 2,000. He's always allowed 2,000. That one arm in the middle he can't touch. So Mambele has to go back into the cave and go around. But he's allowed 2,000 amas because everybody's allowed 2,000 amas in each direction. So he comes out, walks 2,000 amas. Over here he walks 2,000 amas. But it's an amazing case because this guy lives in two houses. Each door is a house. Pretend. And from each house he's allowed 2,000 amas. And now they overlap on top. So Mambele is allowed to go. It's his tchumim that he has. His one tchum goes this way, his other tchum goes this way. We never thought of something like that. It's possible a person has two tchumim that help him go. What?
But it's one house, not two houses.
But we look at these openings as two houses. Pretend he lives here, he could go 2,000 amas this way. Pretend he lives here, this house. So he has a house that has two openings, a front door and a back door. And they help him. I guess this would work on a house also, but a house is, okay, fine. Cave. Let's just finish because it's slichas. Forgot about slichas. What's the connection? This guy took up residence in the cave before Shabbos. So before Shabbos, he had 2,000 amas this way, 2,000 amas this way. This guy got a Hatzalah call on Shabbos. His tchum was this. When Shabbos came in, blue line. He got a Hatzalah call 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So now he got a new tchum, red. How could you mavliya a brand new tchum with the old tchum? That doesn't work. There's a special halacha mechachamim that say, "Oh, I allow you to go 2,000 because it's pikuach nefesh." Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day. Be'ezer Hashem, I'll see you tomorrow somehow from the plane. I don't know how we're going to do it exactly, but we're going to do it. There's going to be a shir, and if I'm not here, then Menachem Mateh will be here. But I'm going to really try hard to do shir tomorrow.